Boycott say, oh, those are a messy time. I've whipped up and rallied a few boycotts in my time in Marvel Contest of Champions around 12.0 and also in 2018 in the summer when there were some really terrible changes to Alliance War. Now, what I've learned across both of those boycotts is there is nothing worse than a half-arsed boycott. If you want to boycott properly, you need to organize it really well. Just immediately go in with kind of a few objectives that you have that are very kind of specific so that, you know, everybody can kind of jump on board and agree on that. You've got to get, like, everybody to sign up, and it's got to be an impactful time for the game. This current boycott that's going on at the moment is a half-assed joke, in my opinion. Like, when it was announced, there were, like, barely any points. It was kind of just, like, emotional rants about how people were sick and tired of the game. And I get that, man. Like, I've definitely had that recently, as we all know, with leaving my alliance. But the Wales, like, a few alliances, it's not even, like, that big of a list in comparison to the entire spectrum of the game. They've rallied together, and they're not going to be spending. But the thing is, if you're a massive whale, you've done all the content now. You know, in the next month and a bit, there's nothing to spend on. You've got nothing left to do. You're not going to be buying units for content. The new characters that are coming out are just like, they're not top meta champions. You don't need them, you know. You might not even want them, man, because, like, if you're just looking to upgrade, like, the best characters, a lot of the characters released this year have been far from it. Like, for a lot of big spenders at the moment, there is, like, no reason to spend in the first place. The only thing of kind of big relevance and importance that might be coming up is, like, the July 4th deals, and that's, like, in a month and a bit. So, like, at the moment, the game, like, for the next couple of months, man, the game is pretty dead. If you're a really hardcore player and you have grinded out everything, there's not really, like, too much of a reason to kind of log in and get heavily invested in the first place. Because there's really, like, not too much going on. This is probably one of the biggest, like, lull periods that we've ever had in Marvel Contest of Champions. And I think KABAM are kind of aware of that. Like, there's been a massive delay with the whole MCU stuff, and Marvel as a brand, especially with, you know, the conclusion of the first stage Avengers Endgame last year. Marvel has kind of died down a little bit this year, and the hype and kind of excitement around the Marvel universe really isn't going to pick up till later this year, and that's one of the reasons why Marvel Realm of Champions has pushed back, delayed till the end of the year. You know, Black Widow's going to come out, we're going to have the Eternals, the Marvel hype around everything is going to resurge, but this is a time where KABAM have probably factored in that, you know, they're really not going to make that much money anyway. So, you know, I think their plan is to look further into the future. And I think in terms of, like, KABAM listening and stuff, they've already you know, done the short-term roadmap. That one again really wasn't too impressive, but they also did touch on the fact that that's not the end of the communication. Like, they're coming out with a middle to long-term roadmap of some of the stuff that's going to be changed and improved. But the thing is, man, you know, yelling boycott and just harassing, like, everybody in the forums and, like, the Apple legal team, and just, you know, trying to hit everybody up, the Marvel stuff as well, that doesn't really achieve anything when KABAM, I think, seriously do understand now that they have made a lot of mistakes. I feel like they really, really do understand that they are not in the right direction with this game. And they pulled the Act 7 beta, man, and they've literally, you know, they're literally going back to the drawing board with it. They understand where they've gone wrong there. And I think further and further, this is the point where they are, you know, being quite open to respond. But obviously, if they rush into a response about the future of the game and the roadmap and the plan, and they haven't had the time to properly think it through, they could just go into themselves another half-assed solution that's going to create a variety of problems down the line as well. So they said they're working on it, man. They're getting that response together. And I'm very interested to see what they have to say about the future of the game. Because I am personally, I'm concerned, man. I'm concerned about Marvel Contest of Champions. I feel like they have grown increasingly out of touch. But I feel like they are now in a position where they really realize that if they keep on going down the path that they've been going down, then it's just going to kill the game. And I think the last thing that KABAM want to do as a business that want to make loads of money is kill the game. In the last 2-3 months, I've spent about, I think it's been about $6,000-7,000 on 7 Deadly Sins Grand Cross. I've spent like maybe barely like 2,000 on Marvel Contest of Champions. Like, you know, I speak with the majority of my spending and my wallet. I like spending for new characters. I like buying new characters because that's how I have fun in this game now. You know, there's no like crazy big challenge coming up. Like, the enjoyment for me in this game is to collect new champions and have fun with them. And I don't want to be harassed by some like half-assed boycott for just doing that. The thing is, when you start a boycott and from the start of it you really clearly don't define your objectives, then everybody in the boycott is boycotting for different reasons, and then a change will be made that pleases some people in the boycott, but because you haven't clearly defined like a few specific things you want to get changed that are kind of the big priority, then it's just going to cause so much conflict as this boycott escalates into the coming weeks, because there's going to be like the KABAM post at the start of June, and some people are going to be like, well, wow, I'm really happy with this, I'm back to spending, and then some people are going to be like, oh no, like all my, you know, 20 points that I made on a Google document, all of those weren't addressed, only like 7 of them were. Like, I'm gonna stop spending until then, and then it just kind of creates this further friction in the community, and you see it like on the forums and comment sections and all sorts of chats where people are just arguing and arguing, and it just breaks the game down and it makes it a lot not fun to play. This is a game, man. You've just got to enjoy it for what it is. And at the moment, Marvel Contest of Champions is disappointing. Like, this month has been incredibly stale. Like, next month there's really not much coming. I think, again, with the delay of Act 7 and going back to the drawing board, that was the right move to make, but it's definitely going to slow down kind of the future of this game. And I think that is going to be a good thing in the longer term. I think it's going to be a really, really good thing. But I feel like the perspective that KABAM, you know, don't listen and don't take feedback is just, I don't know, I just feel like it's misinformed. I feel like, you know, KABAM love money. They care about their game. They want to make, like, the spenders happy. And I think they, really do know that a lot of top-level players are just not satisfied with the current state of the game. A lot of us really didn't have fun in Act 6, and if they just keep on doing that, then we're just going to play other games. As I said, bro, I myself, I'm like speaking with my actual actions and my wallet. I'm spending like 80% of my gaming time on 7 Deadly Sins and so much more money on that game, because that game is just doing so much stuff right that Marvel Contest of Champions is just not hitting the mark on. And I feel like as the mobile gaming market moves forward, like, everybody releasing a new game, especially with a big brand as well, like, needs to come with some fire to be competitive. Like, there are so many mobile games coming out, so, like, especially 7 Deadly Sins has really set, like, a high bar for a lot of mobile games out there to compete with. And I think, looking at the numbers, especially, like, the first, like, quarter of this year, man, KABAM, they've been losing money like crazy, bro. This has been, like, a really, really bad quarter for them. If you look at websites like App Annie or the Netmarble report, they're already losing a ton of money, bro. Like, sometimes this stuff, it just speaks for itself in terms of the numbers. There are a lot of people that are really becoming disinterested with progressing in Marvel Contest of Champions, and disinterested with the systems of staying on this super repetitive, boring grind of Alliance Quest, Alliance War, while really not getting anything kind of impactful that really, like, is exciting anymore. You know, they've been so stagnant at kind of pushing the top level stuff forward that everybody's just like, you know, just bored of being on this treadmill that we've been running on for years and years and years. But a half-assed boycott that's going to be easily broken by the 4th of July deals is just not going to achieve anything. I've watched this whole thing come together, even from the line chats, man. I was talking to somebody, because people were messaging me, saying, hey, Seatin, there's this line chat for the boycott starting. I was like, I messaged back. I don't want to say the name of the player, but I was like, oh, is it organized? He's like, no, dude, it's just like everybody's throwing everything about. There's no kind of real, like, leader or something. And then I saw kind of the boycott videos the following day, and they really had no kind of direct objective or plan to unify, and since then some various points have come out, but like, you know, it depends who you talk to about this boycott, man. Like, everybody's saying different stuff. I think they've kind of agreed on like a list of 15-20 things in a Google document, but it's such a mess. And again, like, being a top spender, a top whale, you don't need to spend money on the game. Like, progressing players that want to go through, they want to enjoy, like, you know, Act 5 variant content. Like, I don't want them being harassed because they're behind on the game and they want to drop like a unit package to just enjoy the content and have fun with the game for what it is. You know, a mobile fighting video game that a lot of us have been playing for far too long, and we don't see it as a game anymore. We see it as a lifestyle, we see it as a job, and we just need to take a step back and chill, is my whole perspective on the game at the moment. Because I feel like some people are just so afraid of the amount of money and time that they've put into this game that they find it really hard to separate themselves from it, and they wanna just go down fighting. And you know, I can understand that. I can understand that as well. But the thing is, like, you've just got to accept, like, I've personally come to the conclusion that Marvel Contest of Champions, I don't think is ever going to be the game that I really want it to be. There's loads of stuff that I've wanted for years, and there has been some really good stuff in the history of the game, and a lot of really great characters as well, but it's never kind of really stepped up to the level of being the game that I personally wanted it to be. And that's just my personal expectations. You know, I wanted a lavish PvP scene, like so much fun, amazing content like variant. I want to see small scale stuff. I want to see a competitive scene emerge. I feel like there's so much amazing stuff that they could have do, but again, these are just my personal interests. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not supporting this boycott, man. I think it's just a complete sham at the moment. Again, just my personal opinion. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. If you did enjoy it, please do smash that like button. Take care, and I hope that you have an absolutely fantastic day.